I grow up, I want to do animations. I want to create characters that can fly.
When I grow up, I want to create music that makes people want to stand up and dance.
We all travel different paths with one goal in mind: success.
When I grow up, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but I know I want to go to college.
Brookdale Community College. Take your next step at brookdalecc.edu.
When I grow up, I want to be a chef and own my own restaurant, so people from all over the world can come and try my food.
Back here in Robert J. Collins, Riddington, Calfam alongside Brian Gouds, where we welcome you to our stream live on YouTube tonight on our YouTube channel here at Brookdale TV. We had a couple technical errors to get things started, but we are underway here in the Collins Arena. Brookdale leads the Sussex Skylanders 10-9 out of the timeout called by Coach Stockton, as Jameer Calhoun was on the baseline that time, turning the ball over and giving it back to Sussex, inadvertently, I will add. And Sussex will inbound with a fresh 30 underneath their own basket. It's Britt, Wheeler, Mendez, Pierce, Pierre and Melville on the floor for the Skylanders. It's taken away here by Turay Gatling. Gatling, the lob for Calhoun. He couldn't handle it. And on the baseline was Wheeler, so it'll go back to Brookdale.
Yeah, nice try on the alley-oop there from Gatling to Calhoun. The pass, though, just a little bit behind Jameer, so he couldn't get the right angle to try to throw it down.
Inbound to Gatling, and he puts it in, and Brookdale now back up by 3, 12-9. Sussex is a team 1-10 on the year. They are 0-7 in the Region 19 Conference, but don't let that surprise you. They had a lot of close games this year. They played close, as I mentioned a moment ago, to Camden, had a close game against Passaic, a team actually in Passaic that Brookdale lost to earlier this year, as Britt that time couldn't get the jumper to go, and now here comes Brookdale up the floor very quickly. Brookdale 7-5, 5-4 in the Region 19 Conference. They've won 3 straight, looking to make it 4 tonight, as Johnson from the corner doesn't get the 3 to go. And the rebound to Britt. Mendez, the jumper, doesn't even hit the rim, and Calhoun's able to pick up the easy rebound. Here's Lamar Johnson. Back out to Clark. Now back to Johnson. Ball is taken away, tipped out by Britt. Britt now to the hole, blew the layup. There for the putback, though, putting it up and in was Ben Melville. And the Brookdale lead is 1.
And Melville with a nice job there trailing that transition opportunity and puts in the second chance points.
Clark is bumped along the perimeter. It'll be on the floor. That'll be on Melville. And I think that will be the first on Melville, the first on the Skylanders, as Reldi Dursey, the 6'6 freshman from Albania, will check into the game. He will come in for George Mendez. Brookdale will inbound with 21 seconds on the shot clock. Cummings, the 3, is short, front rim no good. Rebound Wheeler. Wheeler now keeping it himself, and he traveled with the basketball.
You know, Wheeler that time almost had an and-one basket as he got the shot to go, but shuffled the feet prior to releasing it, so Sussex turns it over.
12-11, Brookdale leads by 1. Sussex still in a 2-3 zone to open up this first half. Here's Calhoun along the baseline, back out to Johnson for 3, and he's able to hit it. Lamar Johnson's got his first 3 of the night.
Yeah, and you just got to let Johnson take those shots. And when he has that kind of space, he's going to take them, and he shoots a high percentage from 3. He's really become Brookdale's go-to scorer.
235 points all season so far for Lamar, as rallying in a 3, this time right in front of the Brookdale bench, is Ben Melville. That's a 1-point game again, as Calhoun is fouled this time at the other end.
Calhoun with a little sweeping motion there as he took that shot from in the lane and now at the line.
So Jameer Calhoun, the 6'5 sophomore from Lakewood, New Jersey, has over 100 rebounds this season. The Air Force Reserve member knocks down the first shot from the line. Another substitution here is coming out of the game is Richard Pierre, and coming in for him is Peter Schneider. So Schneider will take his spot along the low block. Calhoun makes them both. 17-14 lead. New Jersey Blues pull ahead by 3. Melville. And it over to Schneider, and it's taken away by Calhoun. Up ahead to Gatling. Gatling, an acrobatic move, threw it up there at the rim with 2 hands, and it somehow miraculously went in.
Yeah, great move to elude the defender there as he switched hands with the ball and then is able to finish it. Nicely done.
Foul here away from the ball. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's going to be on Sussex. It's a moving screen on Nazir Britt. That's not going to make Coach Stockton too happy on the other sideline for Sussex. As Brookdale will inbound. Randy Sutton checks into the game for the first time. More on him in just a second as Sutton traveled with the basketball. Actually, I was going to give some praise to Randy Sutton. Maybe I'll wait till he makes a little bit of a better of a play. He was the Garden State Athletic Conference Player of the Week, and he had a game-high, career-high, 20 points against CC of Philadelphia. We talked about him during that broadcast, Brian, on Saturday. He was one of the standout stars for Brookdale.
He sure was, and he did it coming off the bench, which was another thing we discussed, that evolving role he has of being the 6th man for Brookdale, providing instant offense.
Calhoun with a rejection from Wheeler. Now up ahead to Johnson, who bobbled it and couldn't finish. I don't even think Johnson was really looking at the ball. I'm not sure if he was looking to pass it off or was distracted, but did not have the eye on the ball, and he lost it out of bounds as a result.
Those are usually the kind of plays that Brookdale dials up in their sleep and finishes them off, but Johnson that time, like you said, may have just taken his eye off it.
Dursey may have gotten away with a traveling call. Now here's Dursey inside, turnaround jumper, back iron no good. Gatling up the floor. Now to Cummings, and Cummings walked with the basketball.
And you see that call a lot when a player gets the ball out on the perimeter, they fake it, and then they start the drive, and very often they're called for taking an extra step, and in some cases, I'm not even sure there actually is a travel.
Our officials this evening, as I mentioned a moment ago, Rondell Taylor, Brian Murray, and Thomas McDermott. Makai Morgan, along with Emilio Stevenson, check in for Brookdale. Wheeler. Now back to Melville. Melville. Another rejection, this time by Calhoun.
Yeah, we used to see a ton of that the last 2 years when Matt Ringel was manning that part of the court for Brookdale, becoming one of the premier shot blockers in the Region 19. Brookdale misses that.
Here's Gatling the other way. Thought better of it. Back out to Morgan for a long 2. Calhoun, though, able to clean things up as that shot didn't even hit the rim. Morgan again from the corner. Now over to Gatling. Left elbow jumper is good for Turay Gatling.
It was nice patience that time exhibited by Gatling as he took the pass around the elbow area, took one dribble, saw he was open enough, and able to hit the jumper.
And it's a 7-point lead now for Brookdale, their largest of the game. Long 3 that time by Melville is front rim no good. Calhoun. Back out Sutton. Sutton, right arc 3 on the way for Randy Sutton. Front rim no good. Wheeler hands off to Britt. Britt right at Sutton inside, a little short. There may have been some contact, no call. Here comes Stevenson, out of control. Kicks it over to Morgan. Now Sutton from the other end of the wing. This time is no good. That's 2 threes now for Randy Sutton that have not fallen. And Brookdale has gone cold the last 2.5 minutes. Wheeler inside is fouled.
Morgan's best hope there was trying to force a jump ball as he grabbed hold of the basketball, but also got enough of Wheeler that time to get called on the foul.
Another substitution here for Sussex. George Mendez will check back in for his teammate Ben Melville. It's the first on Mackay Morgan, by the way, on Brookdale, who committed the last personal. In the Mendez, as Sussex will try to set up their offense here. Brookdale remains in the man-to-man defense. Spinning his way inside and a traveling violation on Mendez. It's about the 4th traveling call that we've seen in this game, and many of them have gone against Sussex, Brian.
Yeah, that's been their one problem is turnovers, because they've come out with a lot of energy. They definitely have enough players offensively to make some noise and keep this game competitive.
Calhoun, a teardrop jumper in the paint is good, and Brookdale increases their lead now 23-14. Wheeler is bumped by Morgan again, and Morgan will pick up his 2nd personal. So not a very good way for Mackay Morgan, who's into the game early. We have not seen Mackay into the game this early in quite a few matchups here in the Collins Arena. He picks up his 2nd. It actually looks like instead they will call the foul on Jameer Calhoun. So I didn't quite see that. I thought it was Morgan who bumped Wheeler, but instead they'll call it on Calhoun. That's his 2nd. 3 there from Wheeler is good.
That's what Coach Paul Chizek said. Wheeler, a guy likes to shoot the basketball and can be effective in doing so.
Gatling underneath the basket, puts it up and in, and the foul. As you see Coach Chizak looking on, got his 500th win last season. Told me preseason his goal this year is to make the Region 19 Final Four, the tournament which will be held here in the Collins Arena. We will look forward to that. We'll have that at the end of February, early March, Brian. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah, we had it here 2 years ago and then not last year, so we missed out.
Switches around every now and then. Northampton held it last year. Brookdale will hold it this year as Coach Stockton is getting an interview, or getting a, I shouldn't say an interview, maybe a talking to from one of the officials downstairs about one of the calls on the floor.
I think he's a little busy to be interviewed right now.
And more explanation now from the officials at the scores table. There's Coach Stockton. First season as head coach, came over from Ocean County College. He was an assistant there for 5 seasons. Actually played for the Vikings as a player. And now he's up here at Sussex trying to build a program. Many of the coaching staff at Brookdale think very highly of Coach Stockton. And he's had his work cut out for him this season. Team is 1-10, but as we mentioned, they have had a lot of close losses. They certainly are much improved from last season just by looking at them in these opening couple minutes as Gatling completes a 3-point play.
Yeah, this was a program that kind of was in the doldrums for a lot of years there, but even though the record is probably where they wouldn't want it at this point in the season, you can see the improvement. It's clear.
Wheeler from the foul line. Good. Samir Wheeler, who averages 15 points a game, has been hot this first half and brings Sussex to within 7.
He made one from 3 just a moment ago, that time inside the arc.
Gatling couldn't get the jumper along the baseline to go. Now here comes Sussex pushing the ball up the floor. Mendez able to recover. Wheeler again. It's a 3. That's short. Out of bounds, last touch by the Jersey Blues. As Lamar Johnson will come in for Emilio Stevenson. It's Stevenson, Gatling, Cummings, Calhoun, and Randy Sutton on the floor for Brookdale. Mendez cross-court pass to Wheeler. Shot clock down to 14. Dursey. Nice bounce pass inside to Schneider, and Peter Schneider gets on the board. It's a 5-point lead. Johnson, dangerous pass over to Cummings, now gets it over to Sutton. Runs right at Shiner. Now back out to Johnson for a 3. That rims out, but Calhoun comes away with the rebound. Sutton is bumped on his way to the hoop. He was bumped by Wheeler, and they will get Wheeler with a personal as he's arguing his case with Rondell Taylor. It's the second on Wheeler. Jameer Calhoun will come out of the game, and Jazir Clark now comes back on the floor. So Brookdale making a lot of subs here early on in the game. Cummings from the corner. It's a three, and it's good for Keyshawn Cummings.
And nicely done by Cummings, who set up as the inbounder, delivered the pass, found the open spot on the floor, and drills the three.
Wheeler tries to answer back. A tough shot, I should say, but a nice finish right over Keyshawn Cummings.
Well, Wheeler was going to be our player of the game if we had one before the game started, and he's shown why with his performance through the first 12 minutes plus.
Certainly a player you have to keep your eye on. Bounce pass in to Sutton. Sutton couldn't handle the layup. Tries to get his own rebound, but it's taken away by Mendez, who has his pocket picked from behind by Johnson. Sutton in stride. He traveled.
You called it before the official did.
He was trying to get it over to Gatling and took one too many steps, and that will find Randy Sutton a spot on the bench as Emilio Stevenson will check in for him. Coach Chizak not too happy about that last possession. Still a 6-point lead. Wheeler. Ooh, he may have gotten away with a walk, no call. Shot clock down to 14. Wheeler again, that partially blocked, and it's taken away by Gatling.
Paul Chizek threw his arms out, could not believe it wasn't a travel.
Gatling at the other end, count the basket, and he will go to the line now for another shot. It's going to be on Nazir Best, the personal. There's Coach Chizak. And now Gatling will wind his way to the foul line. It's the second on Nazir Britt, and now the 6th on Sussex. So Turay Gatling, the 6'5" sophomore from Patterson, completes the three-point play. One of the sophomore leaders for the Jersey Blues. Trying to have a big night tonight against the Skylanders. As Brookdale now back up to a 9-point lead. Cummings almost stole the pass. Mendez had to save it from going out of bounds. The shot clock is winding down here for Sussex. Mendez inside doesn't get the layup to go. It was a running jumper in the paint that rolls off the rim. And now Britt takes it away. Coach Chizak wanted a foul. Mendez trying to get too fancy. Behind the back to Britt. And now here comes Brookdale the other way. Cummings for three. Yes.
That just set up by great perimeter ball movement. Johnson to Sutton to Cummings around the horn. It went, and nothing but net on the three-point delivery.
Coach Stockton takes a full timeout. We'll take it with him. 6:18 left here in the first. Back to the Collins Arena after this.
With paper student education plans, advisors sit down with students, discuss what courses to take, when they'll transfer to a four-year institution or graduate, and map out a course plan that aligns with their program. But as time goes on, schedules move around. The planning shifts. Students want to take a class with a certain professor. The course catalog changes, and a class that would have been an elective requirement may no longer be offered. Moving this planning online allows the student and the advisor to be on the same page with course information, scheduling, and the student's educational goals. They can see a timeline of courses and easily make changes as needed. Colleague Student Planning is an online tool that makes the academic program planning process easier for your students and their advisors by allowing course planning, course registration, and tracking of progress toward academic program completion, all in real time.
Califamo alongside Brian Gounsworth, the rest of our BTV crew here for the home finale, I should say, of 2018. We'll be back in 2019, of course, for the rest of the regular season, but Brookdale trying to close out 2018 here in the Collins Arena on a high note. They lead 35-23. Out of that timeout over Sussex, in the corner for three is Dursey. That's off the back rim, no good. And Calhoun, with two bodies on him, somehow brings down the rebound. Johnson, a quick three. That rolls off the rim, no good. And here comes Nazir Britt up the floor. Gets it over to Bryce Falk, a new player in the game for Sussex. He can't hit, and Cummings the way with the rebound. Up ahead to Clark, who almost lost control of the ball. Cummings, another three. This one doesn't go for Cummings, but Clark gets the rebound. The shot clock resets. Under 5.5 minutes left here in this very fast-moving first half. Johnson, left arc three on the way. Doesn't go, and the rebound is controlled by Reldy Dursey.
Yeah, Dursey almost mistimed the jump there, but still got the rebound.
Wheeler going coast to coast, now gives it off to Schneider, and Schneider puts it in underneath the basket.
Now Schneider, the lone big player for this Sussex team, and he's taking advantage of that.
Schneider grabs the rebound, the 6'4" freshman.
It's a Sussex team that overall does not have a lot of size, and that was something that Coach Paul Chizek hoped to be able to take advantage of.
Britt, an NBA range three. This one rolls out, no good. And Johnson the rebound. Now going the coast to coast is Lamar Johnson. Count the basket. Johnson kind of moving in slow motion there into the paint. I think he was looking to give it off to somebody, but thought better of it, kept it himself. And he has an opportunity to try to get another one from the line. The foul is on Bryce Falk. That's his first.
You know, all good scorers have something in common in that they can score in a variety of ways, and Johnson is no different. He can shoot the ball from the outside, but he can also drive and make noise either way.
Brookdale increases their lead to 13. Here's Falk, who just picked up that personal. Now over to Britt. Splits a double team. Got the ball back after nearly losing it. Now it's intercepted by Randy Sutton. Brookdale with some numbers. Up ahead to Cummings. Behind the back pass to Lamar Johnson, and he lays it in.
Now Cummings getting fancy there, but nicely done on the behind the back, finding the trailing Johnson, and Brookdale clicking now offensively.
Sutton picks up a foul in the backcourt. As Sussex, after starting off the game so well, has now gone cold the last couple of minutes on the floor. They desperately need a basket here. George Mendez comes in for Bryce Falk for the Skylanders. And I would say, Brian, with 4 minutes left, Sussex needs a basket.
Yeah, and Samir Wheeler has been the guy, is right on cue. He gives it away, and Brookdale's running.
Sutton this time at the other end, blew the layup too strong. Clark got his own rebound, now puts it up and in, muscled it in the paint.
And you'd like to see Clark be more involved on that end of the floor. He has that ability, but he's been quiet in recent games offensively. You'd like to see him be another option for the Jersey Blues.
Calhoun has his third rejection on the game. Now here's Johnson, who throws it over to Calhoun. Brookdale's now getting fancy on offense, and a timeout is called by Coach Stockton. Sussex takes a 30-second timeout. Let's watch that play again. Watch this. Watch Sutton, or excuse me, this is Johnson rather. Behind the back pass to Calhoun. I don't know if Calhoun was ready for that, but he was able to adjust and put it in for two. And Coach Stockton now will have to make some much-needed adjustments very quickly here, or this game could get out of hand before we even hit halftime.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago that his team was playing with a lot of energy. They were making some shots from the outside, playing Brookdale about as close as you can, but then you see Brookdale get out in transition, and that's where they really make their money. You couple that with a couple of threes that they made with Johnson, and the lead has opened up now 19 points.
Remember, Brookdale comes in here winning 3 straight games. They took down CC of Philadelphia on Saturday, 79-75. Much improved Philadelphia team. They're now facing a much improved Sussex team, but they have certainly got the drop on the Skylanders so far. Long three there from the corner by Wheeler doesn't go. And now the rebound is taken by Clark. Clark, I think he may have gotten away with a carry, but the officials let it go, and now Brookdale leads 46-25. Dursey inside, he's fouled. It'll be on Randy Sutton, and Sutton picks up his second personal, the 6th now on Brookdale. Turay Gatling will check in for Randy, who will take a seat on the bench. Mentioned he had a career high in the last game against Philadelphia, 20 points. Sussex really needs a basket here. The shot clock is down to 15. Inside, Mendez may have gotten away with a walk. There was contact, no call. Now Johnson, the bounce pass to Calhoun, and he lays it in easily off the glass.
And that combination, excuse me, is combined now on a couple of baskets in just the last 2 minutes alone. Previously the alley-oop, and that time the easy layup.
And now this is starting to go on 4.5 minutes. The Sussex has not gotten the bucket. Inside, here's Wheeler. Count the basket for Samir Wheeler. Anticlimactic call there by the officials. I didn't see them count it till very late. And Samir will have an opportunity to try to complete the three-point play from the line. The foul is on Jazir Clark, his first.
Well, when they've needed an answer, that's been the guy they've gone to, is Wheeler.
So Wheeler, the 6-foot sophomore, all the way from Savannah, Georgia. Front rim no good on the first attempt, but the rebound is taken by Schneider. Wheeler again, now back out to Britt for three. Got it! That's a 5-point swing for Sussex, and now they trail by 18.
And now they got some press on. We'll see if that phases Brookdale. Yeah.
Some contact there for Johnson. He lost the ball. Now here comes Britt. Britt right at Johnson, and he lays it in. A 7-0 run for Sussex, and Coach Chizak wants a timeout. It'll be a 30-second timeout as you see Coach Chizak describing what he's not happy with his team on the sidelines. That's a 7-0 run for Sussex. We were just talking how Sussex had gone on a cold streak. They hadn't been able to get any field goals, and there you go. They get an N1, they get 2 baskets from the foul line, a 3, and then a quick steal, another 2. That's a 7-point swing in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's one thing to have a 7-0 run, but have it come in under a minute in time. That's eating away at the lead in a short amount of time, and what was once a 20-plus point Brookdale lead is now down to 16, so they're going to try to close out this final 151 strong.
So Cummings will inbound. Sussex now will show some full-court press. Spoke to Coach Stockton before the game. He said they would go to a press. We hadn't really seen it up until this point. Brookdale able to handle it as they get the ball up the floor. Here's Johnson. Inside to Calhoun. This time didn't get the layup to go, and Schneider, the rebound, who got hit in the face. No call. Mendez from the corner. Out of bounds, last touched by Brookdale. It'll stay here with Sussex. Randy Sutton and Mekhi Morgan will check in now for Brookdale. We'll see who they come in for. Keyshawn Cummings and looks like Jameer Calhoun. So Brookdale going with a little bit shorter of a lineup here in this last minute 24 to close out the first half. Dursey. The fadeaway over Clark, not even close. And the rebound is taken by Morgan. Johnson is fouled on his way to the bucket, and he will have 2 upcoming from the foul line.
Johnson aggressively to the basket that time, and I talked about things that good scorers have in common, and one in their ability to drive to the basket is that they can draw fouls and get to the free throw line at will.
Well, Lamar Johnson has certainly done that. He shoots 76% from the line as he hits the first attempt. I may have mentioned it a moment ago, foul was on Wheeler. He's got 2 personals. He checks out of the game. And in for him, Bryce Falk. Johnson's second attempt, no good.
Lane violation.
So that's a break for Brookdale. I think that might have been Schneider who got across the line early. So Johnson will redo. Second attempt again. This time is good. So it costs Sussex an extra point, and now it's back up to an 18-point lead for Brookdale. A minute left here in the first half. Mendez tries to go back toward to Schneider, and he beats Turay Gatling around the low block. Under a minute left to play here in the first half. Gatling in stride in the paint. Counted and 1 for Turay Gatling.
Nice job by Gatling to just take the pass, go up strong right away, and now trying to add one more from the free throw line.
So Turay Gatling, one of the sophomore leaders, has 31 assists this season. He didn't necessarily need the assist. He got the assist that time from his teammate, and he's able to complete the three-point play. 53-34. Sussex needs a bucket here to close out the first half with some momentum to take that in the locker room. Dangerous cross-court pass over to Dursey. Got his own rebound, and nice reverse layup inside for Dursey. 53-36. Gatling nowhere to go, threw it up there, and the rebound is taken by Britt. Sussex with some numbers. Alley-oop pass to Dursey, couldn't handle it from Mendez. And now the shot clock is turned off. Johnson a three, he's fouled in the left arc. And Nazir Britt just cannot believe it. Neither can Coach Stockton. That's just not what you want to do, especially now with 11 seconds left in the first half, Brian. I mean, you basically give Lamar Johnson, who's almost automatic from the foul line, 3 points.
And I feel like we see that way too often at this level, the fouls on jump shooters. And when you're behind the line, as you mentioned, giving away 3 attempts at this point of the game, a team like Sussex that's down this margin already, you just cannot afford to make those kind of mistakes.
Johnson's got 2 so far from the line. He will have another coming up to complete the 3-attempt foul shot, I should say. That was the 3rd on Nazir Britt. So Sussex now, not only are they down, but they're running into some foul trouble. 56-36. Shot clock is turned off here. Sussex can have the final shot if they choose. Mendez to Falk. Back to Mendez. The jumper rolls in. And that will end the first half as Johnson thought about going grandma style behind the back, but that will not work out. 56-38 is the halftime score for the Jersey Blues. And, you know, Brian, we talked about how this was a close game to start things. And, you know, give credit to Sussex. They certainly played well to start the game, and they kept this one close. But Sussex went on about 4.5 minutes where they didn't score anything and allowed Brookdale to get up to a double-digit lead, and that's really kind of where we are. So Sussex is not out of the ball game just yet, but they're perilously close.
Yeah, during that time that you mentioned where they went 3 or 4 minutes without a basket, that's where Brookdale took full advantage and built the lead up. And how did they do it? They got out in transition. They put the ball in their hands of their best player, Lamar Johnson, let him go to work. He made a couple of threes. He also was able to get to the rim. Turay Gatling had a big hand in it, and so Brookdale really never looked back from that point on and have themselves a sizable lead here at the break.
And then for Sussex, what do you do, Brian, to make some first half adjustments? Because they're still in this game. We talked about how Coach Stockton has certainly done a nice job with this team. Don't let the 1-10 record fool you, but they're in a hole right now, and they desperately need to turn things around.
They are, and at times, though, they have played well offensively. They came out with a lot of energy. They had a lead early on. I looked for them to go to Samir Wheeler here coming out in the second half because he kind of led the way for them. He can score in a variety of ways, has shown off a good shooting ability as well, so he'd be the guy that Brookdale should key in on defensively coming out in the second half.
Well, we'll see what they do. Brookdale leads 56-38 at halftime. We'll take a break at halftime, come back for the second half here on Brookdale TV right after this. We're back here in the Robert J. Collins Arena in Lincroft, New Jersey, getting ready to start the second half of action here in our doubleheader tonight, the final home game of 2018. Tim Catalfamo alongside Brian Gouds with the rest of our BTV crew. Brookdale in the doubleheader tonight against Sussex County. They lead the Skylanders 56-38, as you see on our ticker at the bottom of the screen. Brookdale played very well in the first half. They were led by Turay Gatling, who has 19 points, many of them coming from the foul line. Lamar Johnson's got 13 also to lead the Blues, whereas on the other side for Sussex, they are led by Samir Wheeler. No surprise there, Brian. He's got 11 points.
Yeah, and for Sussex, their offense has been Wheeler and it's been Nazir Britt. They have to find a way to have other guys contribute to try to slice this 18-point deficit.
Well, we'll see how Sussex looks coming out of the halftime break. They have to get some points, and they have to get them fast. Here's inside Richard Pierre, who is fouled on his way to the bucket. So Pierre now at the foul line, able to complete the first shot of a 2-shot foul. The foul is on Jameer Calhoun. That's his second personal. Pierre hails from Spring Valley, New York. The 6'2 sophomore completes 2 from the line.
Sussex has some players from all over the map here. You got Pierre from New York, you have Dursey from Albania, and then you got the Savannah, Georgia native in Wheeler.
Skylanders open up in a 2-3 zone to start this second half on defense. Johnson left open from the corner for a 3. Calhoun fights for the rebound, had it rejected, got it back and puts it in. And now 58-40, Brookdale goes back up by 18.
Good determination there for Calhoun. He was denied on the initial attempt, but stays with it and makes good on it.
Calhoun's got 10 in the game. He gets another rebound here. Johnson gets it over to Clark. Now here's Johnson again, right at the hole, and he lays it in. So Brookdale opens up the second half with some fire. Sussex will have to make some adjustments. Remember, they were hanging with Brookdale for the better part of the first half. As inside, rejected emphatically. Jazir Clark swats the ball away from Nazir Britt. They'll remain here with the Skylanders with 14 to shoot.
Jazir on Nazir that time.
Britt will inbound, finds a cutting Mendez, and he puts it in.
And Sussex making like Brookdale on that time, executing the out-of-bounds play to perfection, finding the open player all alone underneath the basket.
Calhoun, back out Johnson. Keyshawn Cummings, straight on 3 is good.
And that time Johnson passed up what would have been a clean look he had for a better one to his teammate Cummings, and that connection has worked a couple of times in this game.
Now it looks like Brookdale goes with a 2-3 zone as Mendez travels inside. Right as Brookdale had switched up their defense. So we'll see what Brookdale can do. Nobody back on defense this time for Sussex, but with a 21-point lead, Gatling doesn't push the issue. Gatling at the foul line. Now over to Clark. Attacks the rim, and he lays it in for 2.
Clark had an idea to throw that one down with some authority, but had to adjust because of the defender down near the basket, and still gets it to go.
65-42. Mendez right over to Pierce. Or I'm sorry, Pierre. And now here's Johnson at the other end. He lays it in for 2. Another bucket for Lamar Johnson on the evening.
Yeah, he's really cooking tonight. Had 13 in the first half, has gotten out in transition, only to add to that total.
Pierre, a nice bucket underneath the basket. Now it's 67-44. As Brookdale and Sussex going back and forth. Jazir Clark this time is fouled.
Well, Clark was going to try again there for a dunk. Yeah, it was denied the previous time, so he said, this time I'm really going to attack the rim, and he got a foul out of it. Did they get the foul? Who'd they get it on?
They will get it, I believe, on Richard Pierre. That'll be his second personal, and the first now on Sussex in the second half. So Jazir Clark, the 6'2 freshman from Newark, it's the first of a 2-shot foul. Everybody's sitting down on the Brookdale bench. That's usually a pretty good sign, especially from Coach Chizak when he's not even at the head of the seating area along the bench. He's kind of like squished in between a couple of players.
Yeah, you know things are going well when that's the setup.
Must be pretty content. As Mendez there able to lay it in for 2. George Mendez has provided some points this game and has been a nice addition for Sussex in this ball game. As Johnson inside finds Gatling for another 2. Just both teams trading layups back and forth.
Well, great job by Johnson. He had an opportunity for a wide open 3, but instead opted to pass it up. Hard drive, find Gatling underneath. Just a nice pass.
Wheeler. Inside Pierre and able to bank it off the glass for 2. So Richard Pierre doing a nice job in this ball game. as well for Skylanders. Going to need more of that as, again, terrible transition defense there for Sussex as Brookdale's able to convert inside again.
You're right, though, just trading baskets back and forth. Neither defense can stop the other.
Gatling with a steal, and he throws it down with 2 hands. Pierre, another jumper. Richard Pierre, who didn't see much action in the first half, now all of a sudden has started to heat things up. He's got at least 6 points. Johnson, the 3. This one's off the mark, and the rebound tracked down by Wheeler. Wheeler going coast to coast, runs right into Cummings, but a block on Keyshawn Cummings. Cannot believe that one. He's laughing about that. I have to agree with him.
Well, he was in the restricted area. That's
well,
the
that's
one
true.
part of it. Not in the act of shooting, though.
And they call the foul on the floor. They do not term it a shooting foul, so Sussex will have to inbound the ball. It's the second on Cummings. Richard Pierre will come out as Peter Schneider comes back in. Officials discussing something. As they give the ball back to Nazir Britt momentarily. As they reset the shot clock, it was originally reset at 30. They put it back down to 24. And now they're conferring again. Shot clock is at 24 for Sussex. So again, let's try it again. This time now from the other end for Britt. Inbounds it to Wheeler, goes right at Calhoun. Nice defense by Calhoun, and the rebound is taken by Jazir Clark. Elva with the interception. Now going to the hole, draws contact on Jazir Clark, and Clark fouls him.
Yeah, and I think that's a good foul there by Clark as he stops what would have been an easy basket opportunity for Melville. Instead, they'll make him earn it at the line.
So now Ben Melville, the 6'1 freshman from Sparta, New Jersey, averages just over 14 points a game, finds himself at the foul line. Really not a player that has too many stats this season as Melville completes the first foul shot from the line. He will get another. Keeping score at home, Jazir Clark picked up his second personal as Melville completes both from the line. It is a 74-52 game. Brookdale easily in command, but Sussex not going away just yet. Calhoun, the jumper, is good.
Calhoun, who typically gets the majority of his points from down near the basket, that time stepping out, showing off a little range from 10 feet away.
Wheeler to Mendez, the jumper. He was off balance, and he didn't even really get off his feet. It's front rim, no good. Cummings, left arc 3. Rebound Wheeler. Two-three zone here for Brookdale. There's Britt. Oof, I had it poked away, almost hit our cameraman along the floor out of bounds. Shot clock is at 14. And now a bunch of different substitutions coming in for Brookdale. Basically a wholesale change. Turay Merritt, Randy Sutton, Sky Cherry, and Emilio Stevenson come in for Cummings. Johnson, let's watch this play again. Watch this. Let's go out of bounds. Ricochet into the stands there. Cummings, Clark, Calhoun, along with Johnson, are on the bench now for the Jersey Blues. A long 3 taken there by Melville is off the mark. So we'll see how Brookdale's second string team can do. I wouldn't even really call them a second string team. They have so much talent on their bench. Sky Cherry inside and a foul on the floor on Sussex. Now Coach Chuzak is off the bench after taking a nice long sit.
And he's gotten some players in the game that haven't seen a whole lot of action, whether that's Turay Merritt or Sky Cherry. So when the score becomes lopsided as it is now, a chance for some players to get some time on the floor.
Sutton bounce pass inside to Gatling. Gatling, the hook shot rolls off the rim, no good. Melville from the foul line, good. Nice jumper.
Yeah, Melville just in rhythm that time, stepped into it, unable to knock it down.
Sutton now with the basketball. As once again Sussex in a 2-3 zone here. They've really kind of shied away from a man-to-man defense, which is what they had in the first half. That was somewhat effective, as now here is Mendez, may have gotten away with a walk. Three from Britt is good.
I think he did get away with a walk, but once it wasn't called, he was able to find a wide open Britt. No one picked him up defensively on the Brookdale side, and Britt takes full advantage.
It's a mini 5-0 run now for the Skylanders. Cherry puts it up, rolls off the rim. Gatling, though, is there for the putback underneath.
Gatling working on one of his bigger efforts of the season. And at 19 in the first half, he's been right there down that low block area, that time on the follow-up off the initial miss.
Wheeler. Now Britt, who just hit that three, kicks it inside to Mendez. No good on the shot attempt from the low block. Brookdale looking to push. Back to Gatling, who lays it in after the assist from Randy Sutton.
That was just an overmatch, a 3-on-1 break with only Melville back defensively.
And now at the end Schneider able to put in the quick two. You know, this is a team in Sussex that gives up 82 points a game. Brookdale is right at that. They are at 80. They continue to perform well on offense, going to go over that threshold tonight, and there it is. Gatling inside with the layup, and a timeout is taken by Coach Stockton, as the wheels have kind of come off the wagon here for Sussex in the second half. We'll take it with him. Full timeout on the floor, 12:06 remaining.
My name is Turay Gatling, and I'm from Paterson, New Jersey, and I play forward on the Brookdale men's basketball team. I chose Brookdale as a school to attend to because I love the facility and I love the school, and it also carries my major, which is criminal justice.
How you doing? I'm Makai Morgan from Piscataway, New Jersey. I play point guard here at Brookdale Community College. Here I study health sciences, so when I transfer.
Hi, my name is Lamar Johnson. I'm from Paterson, New Jersey. I play point guard, and the reason why I picked Brookdale is because it's closer to my family and friends.
My name is Jazir Clark from Newark, New Jersey. I went to Barringer High School. I played guard forward. The reason I chose Brookdale is because it's a good environment. I like the coaching staff. I like the players. We all have some type of connection together.
You saw some of the Jersey Blues talking during the commercial break. Jazir Clark, among others. Sorry we had to cut Jazir off a little bit. We had to get back to the break. Out of that timeout, Sussex down 82-59. Here with 12:06 remaining here in the second. Tim Kettlefemo alongside Brian Goudsward. Here in our third season together. We've seen certainly some interesting basketball this year. I would say this is probably the first game, Brian, in a long time that Brookdale has had this large of a lead this late into the game.
Yeah, and Sussex hung around for a while in that first half, and they haven't played all that poorly offensively. I mean, we've seen stretches in this game, especially lately, where the teams are just trading baskets, but it was that stretch in the first half where Sussex went about 3 or 4 minutes without scoring. That's what's done them in tonight.
We mentioned this is a team that usually gives up 82 points on defense. A nice acrobatic move made by Mendez, but he can't finish. Here's Sutton taking it right at Wheeler, and Wheeler took the basketball away, and now Sutton will pick up a foul in the backcourt. As for Randy, we'll check the number on him. I think that might be his third, and it is his third personal. Let's take a look at this again. And here, as Wheeler gets the ball, yeah, good call by the official.
He's bumped it with the arm.
See if Sussex can do anything with it. Long three, top of the key there from Melville is not even close. Gatling feeds it inside to a cutting Merritt, who lays it in.
A nice cut to the basket that time by Merritt, and the vision by Gatling, who didn't really have the angle that time, was able to dish it off, and Merritt makes it count.
Gatling came into this game with 31 assists. That number will climb tonight as he has had several, along with multiple points on the floor. Wheeler is stripped inside, and it's taken away by Sutton. Inside, tough shot, off the glass and in.
Gatling that time was able to find the angle and go glass.
Turay Gatling is having himself a career night. Now 86-59, Brookdale still in command. We still have nearly 10 minutes of basketball left. It's a nice layup there by Dursey. Looks like Brookdale will have another sub checking in at the next buzzer as we have 10 minutes left in the ball game. Merritt inside to Gatling, and Gatling just continues to pad the effort. He had 19 points at halftime. He's got over 25 now. It's just been unbelievable the amount of effort that he has shown in this game, and he's stayed on the floor when much of the rest of the starters have come out, Brian.
And previously it was Gatling to a cutting Merritt, and the previous possession Merritt returns the favor as he finds Gatling for the last basket.
Foul on the floor as we'll take another look at this again. It'll send Mendez to the line. Foul is on Randy Sutton. That's his fourth, so Randy Sutton will most likely check out of the game. At the line now, George Mendez, the 5'10 freshman from Brooklyn, New York, averages just over 18 points a game. Doesn't shoot the ball all that well from the foul line, only shooting 43%. You wouldn't know it there from that last attempt. As Turay Gatling comes out of the game, and in for him, Khalil Campbell, the freshman from Long Branch.
I think this is our first look at him in any game that we have done to this point.
Certainly the first time we have seen him in a game with this much time left in the second half. Here is Campbell on the low block. Now out to Cherry. Sutton with 4 fouls. Back to Cherry. Jumper. Front rim no good. Melville now the jumper. That's no good as well. Wheeler, though, the rebound, but he was on the baseline. A couple more substitutions here for Sussex as Peter Schneider and Ben Melville will check out of the game. Coming back in, Richard Pierre and Nazir Britt. So Sussex clearing the bench there.
So this is a unit on the floor for Brookdale that I'm not sure has played any kind of stretch together as a group.
Well, we'll see how they look. Bounce pass intended for Campbell. Didn't get off the pick in time as Sutton was expecting him to move a little bit faster. Miscommunication there, and Sussex will get the ball back. And this is a team that had a lot of depth. It's a nice jumper there by Dursey. We talked about it at the beginning of the season. We've talked about it at different times, Brian, how usually Brookdale, a staple of their team, has always been depth. Well, they had depth this year, maybe not as much as they have had in past years, but they still have depth. And we talked to a lot of the coaching staff preseason. We asked them, what exactly was it that you were looking for as far as the recruitment is concerned. They said that we got the speeds that we wanted, we got the players that we wanted. We didn't necessarily get the size that we were looking for. But you really haven't seen that affect Brookdale too much in these opening couple of games that they've had this season. I mean, they have certainly struggled in different regards as we have a foul here on the floor on Brookdale. But for the most part, they've been able to make do with what they have. They don't have players like Matt Ringel that are, big-time players inside, but they do have speed. They do have talent. They've been able so far to make everything work for the most part.
Yeah, not every year are you going to have all the ingredients that you want in a season. Last year is kind of an anomaly to have a team that comes together that's as talented, that was able to accomplish what that team was able to last year, going 34-0 and winning a national championship. But sometimes you have to work through the season and find some things that you're lacking as it goes along. And as you mentioned, they still have a lot of speed. That's something they look for in this program, and they still have that. So, you know, what they don't have, they can still find as time goes on.
And we also talked about one of the other developing stories. Brookdale still has a couple of players that are eligible, as Sky Cherry from the corner. It's a 2, not a 3. But Sky Cherry gets on the board, a nice shot.
Great move by Cherry, who I think wanted to shoot a 3, but stepped into it so his foot was on the line.
Long 3 there by Mendez, doesn't go. Offensive rebound keeps the possession alive here for Britt. Brookdale now back to a man-to-man defense. Wheeler pump fakes on a 3, drives inside. The runner doesn't go, and the rebound to Cherry. Brookdale looking to push once again. Sutton gets it off to Campbell. Campbell, the jumper, rattles in for Khalil Campbell. That's his first points of the night, and it might be the first points all season. We'll have to check that, but certainly a nice shot for Khalil Campbell. Everybody getting involved here for Brookdale. Mendez couldn't handle the pass from Pierre. Cherry didn't get the layup, but able to clean it up there was Campbell.
Well, Brookdale's really just run away with it now. I mean, everything is clicking. The lead is up to 30. Once they get out in transition and force turnovers on the defensive end, you're really pretty much toast if you're Sussex.
Inside, Mendez walked. Yeah, I kind of mentioned it a moment ago. I'll tag on it again as Zamir Wheeler will come out for Brandon Kensela, who's a new player into the game for Sussex. We touched on it that we talked about the recruiting. We talked about what happened during the offseason. Brookdale still has several players that they are waiting to become eligible. Jordan Smith, not Makai Morgan, Stephon Forbes, who's a player that we saw in action last year, just to name a few. Tyler Hawkins, another well-regarded recruit that's a freshman. So we expect around January 1st the Brookdale lineup to look significantly different with those players becoming eligible.
Yeah, and of the players that you mentioned, Forbes, the one that we saw last year, and the one thing as Cherry drills the 3, the one thing that Forbes brought to the table that we saw in limited action last year was his ability to shoot the 3-pointers. So that's something that Brookdale will have an added weapon when they come out in the second half of the year.
Britt just chucks up a 3 from the top of the key. It's no good. Cherry now with some momentum tries to get another point on the board, this time not able to get the layup with the left hand. And now here comes Britt going coast to coast. Throws it up there, was looking for a foul, is not going to get one. Merritt hard to the hoop. The layup is good, and Brookdale has now eclipsed 100 points. 101-66.
They've eclipsed 100 points. There's still 5.5 minutes to go. This might be one of their highest point totals in a long time.
Nazir Britt slid into one of our cameras on the downstairs level as Campbell electrifies the Brookdale bench. It's a 3.
There's just certain games and certain points in a game where everything just feels like it goes right. Every shot you take, it doesn't matter who takes it, goes down, and that's the kind of stretch that Brookdale is on right now, and it is beautiful to watch.
Brookdale led 56-38 at halftime. They have opened this game up. I think that's an understatement.
And how about the spark by Campbell? Good for him, a guy who hasn't seen a lot of action, but made the shot previously from 2-point range, hits that 3. These are the kind of games where you make an impression, you find yourself a bigger part of the rotation as the season goes along.
Coach Chizak gets the loose ball on the bench. He's arguing the call. I think he thought that Sussex touched it last. Hey, you're up by one. You're up 103-68, and Coach Chizak still as intense as ever. Talking it over with Rondell Teller on the sidelines. Going with the no-tie look tonight for Coach Chizak. It's a new look for him. Although I should say at this point of the game, usually the tie has already come undone. Usually, if he wears one, as Mendez is fouled while shooting the 2. Quick 30-second timeout, I believe, will be taken here by Sussex. No, I'm sorry, it's a full timeout, so we'll take a break. 4:38 remaining in the ball game. Back to wrap it up after this.
Hi, I'm Anna Canzaro. I'm from Howell, New Jersey. I went to Howell High School. I'm a forward here at Brookdale. I chose Brookdale for a number of reasons. One being it's very convenient for me because I live pretty close. It's a pretty good price, and they have a really great basketball program.
I'm Rachel Rouse. I'm from Neptune, New Jersey. I went to Academy Charter High School. I'm a guard at Brookdale, and I came to Brookdale because it was convenient.
Hi, my name is Veronica Njai. I'm from Staten Island, New York. I play shooting guard position here at Brookdale. I'm also a criminal justice major here at Brookdale. The reason why I chose to come to Brookdale is because of head coach Rich Brunson.
Hi, my name is Lex Holloway. I'm from Bayville, New Jersey. I went to Central Regional High School. I'm a guard on the Brookdale Blues. The reason I chose Brookdale was to further my career in science and see how far it can take me in basketball.
Hi guys, I'm Deion Griffith. I'm from Howell, New Jersey, and I'm a forward on the team. I chose Brookdale because it has a great basketball program. Also, the school is amazing. It has great facilities. My major is biology, and just all the classes help to transfer over, and it's just a great school.
Hi, my name is Camry Brown from Long Branch. Went to Long Branch High School. My position on the women's basketball team is point guard. The reason why I chose Brookdale is because it's local. My friends go here. I was recommended to come here, and it has a great basketball program.
All right, back here in the Collins Arena, 4:38 remaining here in the game. Tim Califemo calling the game alongside Brian Goudsward. The rest of our BTV crew, Brookdale leads 103-68. It has been a routing performance as George Mendez tacks on an extra point from the foul line. This might possibly be the biggest win that Brookdale will have all season by the largest margin. If not, it'll be pretty darn close to that.
Now
Go ahead, Brian.
They've already had 2 games this season, actually, with 108 and 109 points, respectively, but well on their way, perhaps, to eclipsing that margin and picking up a new season high.
Spinning his way inside, this is Kensela, not able to get the jumper. Campbell almost lost the rebound, but Stevenson picks it up for Brookdale. So Brookdale will pretty handily cruise unless something dramatically changes in the next 4 minutes and 10 seconds as Morgan not able to get the layup to go, but they will most likely cruise to a 8-5 record, 4 wins in a row, as Melville is fouled hard to the ground by Campbell. And this will be a 1-and-1 now upcoming for Ben Melville, as Khalil Campbell picks up his first personal. But as I said, Brookdale came into this game winning 3 straight. I asked Coach Chizak in the last game about the 7-5 record, and he said, honestly, Tim, we're a little bit better than 7-5, he feels, and for good reason. I mean, we've talked about it on the broadcast before, Brian. This team has had a lot of close losses, in fact, several in a row to some very good teams. You look at a stretch early on in December 1st, they played Union County College at Union County. They lost 72-69. They lost to Atlantic Cape on the road 91-89. They lost here at home the Rowan Gloucester County 91-89. All 3 of those games, winnable games that maybe had a couple things gone their way late in the game they would have been able to pick up. And those are some of the top teams in the Region 19 conference.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Brookdale is trying to find a way to be as consistent as possible. Their season can be characterized by a lot of streaks so far. They're 1-4, lost 4, 1-3. So you want to try to be able to get a long winning streak, but avoid having those losing streaks mixed in as well. And that was something that was kind of similar with this team 2 years ago. Not, of course, last year. The only streak was winning all the way through. But they want to try to be as consistent as possible. And that comes with as the season goes along. Because as we've talked about, they're incorporating a lot of freshmen, a lot of new faces into the mix this season.
Well, they are the reigning national champions from 2018, earlier this year, decided back in March, as Merritt able to rattle in a free throw. But this is a completely different team. A lot of people forget at the junior college level how quickly teams turn around, and certainly comparing last year's team to this year's team is not fair, and vice versa, of course. It's not even close because it's basically a whole nother roster of players. As Turay Merritt, the 6'2 sophomore from Newark, New Jersey, at the foul line now.
Yeah, Merritt just one of just 3 sophomores that are on the roster, so that just shows the point of the youth that's on this team and a lot of inexperience, but Brookdale starting to find a groove here this part of the season.
Stolen away there by Campbell. Campbell now taking it to the hoop. Count the bucket for Khalil Campbell, and one.
Paul Chizek applauds, and I'm telling you, this is an eye-opening performance from Campbell in a game that makes you think going forward he's going to get more minutes because he's proved himself here tonight.
2 bodies on him. He's fouled on his way to the hoop and is able to still get the bucket. So nice job by Khalil.
Plays with a lot of energy, gives this team a nice spark.
6'1 freshman from Long Branch. He's got some points on the board tonight. Wheeler, triple teamed, fouled inside with 3 minutes left here in the second. You know, we talked about Sussex, not that this is really going to be a stat that is going to help them, because at this point the game is a little far out of reach with 3 minutes to go, but this is a team that, as a team, shoots 70% from the foul line. That's a pretty decent average. Of course, as I say that, Wheeler misses the attempt from the line, but that's a pretty decent average, and I think that's one of the reasons why Sussex, when you look at their schedule, we talked about the 1-10 record, but they've had a lot of close games. They played Camden close. They played Passaic close. Those are 2 good teams in the Region 19 Conference. Stats like that are what keep you in ball games, and while it didn't necessarily help them tonight, it certainly is a stat that down the road could come in handy for the Skylanders as they try to continue to rebuild their program.
Yeah, and just watching them in this game, I know they're down by however much the deficit is at this point, but they were in this game early on in the first half, and you know, at different points in this game I thought played well offensively. To me, it's an improved program from where it was the last few years, where basically this game was completely uncompetitive. This game has been competitive, at least at points.
Nice basket there by Brandon Kensela. So now here's Makai Morgan going to the hoop. He lays it in.
Everybody getting in on the act tonight for Brookdale, whether it's been Campbell or Morgan or Sky Cherry. It's not just the usual suspects of Johnson and Gatling and Cummings. This has been a full team effort.
Wheeler now back out to Britt for a 3. That goes over the glass out of bounds. And when you look at the upcoming schedule for Brookdale, they have got some really tough games coming up. This is, as we mentioned, the last game here at home in 2018. The last game total, as an offensive foul is called on Makai Morgan. It's like the rest of the bench jumps off in disgust at that. That'll be the 4th on Makai Morgan, but we talked about the tough schedule. This is the last game here at home in 2018. The last game all year, actually, in this year. They won't play again till January 5th. They'll go on the road to play Cumberland, and they'll go back on the road to play Rowan Gloucester County January 8th. So those 2 games alone, Brian, are really tough games. They beat Brookdale. Brookdale did beat Cumberland earlier this year, 71-70. They lost to Gloucester County by 2 points earlier this month, as Cherry's an air ball on the 3 from the corner. But they have some tough games coming up, and those are 2 games on the road. Always harder to play on the road. As count the basket there for Bryce Falk. Their next home game is January 15th here in the Collins Arena against Ocean County College, and that will be the next time you see us.
That's right. And Ocean is a team that has really struggled this season, so Brookdale will try to take advantage of that when they next play here at the Collins Arena. But as you mentioned, it'll be a long layoff here as usual for the holiday break.
Merritt making all types of move but can't finish. For Sussex, they have 4 straight home games coming their direction. They play on Thursday against County College of Morris, a Division II team, as Falk just threw it up there looking for some contact. Campbell at the other end throws it down with an exclamation point for 2. 112-79. As we're under 40 seconds left in the game. So Sussex will try to reset and regroup after what will be a tough loss tonight. Cherry tried to get it over to Campbell, and Sky Cherry was on the baseline.
And it is, in fact, a season high in points for Brookdale, reaching 112. Previous high was 109.
Give credit to Sussex, though. They put 79 on the board against a very tough Brookdale team. Cherry lays it in for another 2. And that looks like that may just do it, as Sussex will probably take one more shot here. It'll be Britt going to the bucket, can't get the layup, and that will do it. Sussex suffers their 11th loss this season, and Brookdale improves to 8-5 on the year. They take down Sussex 114-79. Just an all-out dominating performance, Brian. Not really much more you can say other than just a really close effort in the first half. Remember, Brookdale, even though it wasn't necessarily a close game, they only led by 18 at halftime. Sussex was in the ball game for the majority of the first half, and they made it competitive, but they went on a run, maybe 4.5 minutes, where they did not score anything. That allowed Brookdale to pull away and, of course, to put out a big lead at halftime. And then, of course, in the second half, they just went full out, full throttle, and really took off, and Sussex just did not have an answer.
Yeah, the second half, I mean, they just blew this game completely out of the water. And it was that one stretch about midway through in the second half where we talked about just everything going right for Brookdale. And just sometimes you have those periods where every shot falls down, and then it was once Paul Chizek brought in a lot of the backup players. They brought a big-time sense of energy in the game, whether it was Turay Merritt or Khalil Campbell, guys like that who really had an impact. It was Johnson and Gatling who carried the load offensively in the first half, but then some of the backups in the second half led that big-time surge. And about halfway through the second half, blew the game out of the water, and Brookdale really never looked back.
And, of course, for Brookdale, as I mentioned a moment ago, Brian, they're going on a very tough stretch. They have to play Cumberland County on the road on January 5th. Then they have to play Rowan College at Gloucester County January 8th. Those are two teams, I should say, that played Brookdale very closely. They won one of those games. They beat Cumberland. They lost to Rowan College at Gloucester County. This will be a big test for them because that'll be on the road, and then they come home for several games at home here in the Collins Arena. But that'll be a big test to start the new year.
Yeah, it will, and going on the road is always tough, and those are always the big games when you look at the Region 19 matchups, the games you play in your conference. You want to have the upper hand in those games because that can be the difference in the standings. So that's really what you want to see from Brookdale. My headset's coming off here.
It's been a long night here in the Collins Arena, but Brookdale is victorious. They get the win, 114-79. We'll send it down now to Simi Kaur, who's standing by with Coach Chizak.
Coach, thank you for joining us. Impressive game, 4th in a row. What's motivating these guys?
I think the freshmen are starting to grow up. They're starting to figure it out a little bit. We've got 9 freshmen, and you can see it in practice. You can see the distribution of the ball tonight. And I think even at the end of the game, there were some guys that are actually starting to get some time, and they're starting to play. So, that's a positive.
Of course. And, speaking of team, you saw a lot of coordination out there and a lot of teamwork. How proud of are you guys?
I'm going to say this. When you got a young team, and this is the most we've ever had, we only really have a couple of returning sophomores. So what happens is it takes a while for them to figure it out. And that's the thing with junior college basketball. You don't have seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. Harry, you're a freshman or a soft. So they're kind of leading themselves, and I'm happy to see the bonding at the end, happy for all the guys getting in the game, guys playing. We put up a lot of points. We played really well, and the end of the semester at 8-5, 8-4 in the league, that's a positive because we had lost, I think, at one time 4 in a row. So, we're starting to play, and the second semester we got a lot more home games because we were on the road a lot. So hopefully it'll fit together and see how it goes.
And what's the strategy coming in for the next half?
Well, just to kind of build on the defensive side. Young guys want to do the offense and score. We're working really hard on switching up man-to-man and zone and a couple concepts like that. But I think just more of knowing each other, knowing where everybody is. You can see now guys are locating people, and that's really, really important. I mean, last year's team, they knew where everybody was going to be at all time, and this team's getting to there. They got a long way to go to match that team, but they're working hard, and we'll get there.
And it's absolutely showing out there. Congratulations, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice Christmas.
You too. Thank you.